bamboo, bam. Let's go.
Yo, what's up? I'm your host, DJ Duss, with my co-host, Bamboo. What's up, Bam?
What up, kid?
How's everything with you? Not much, man. I'm good. I'm just, you know what, man? I'm not even going to tell you what I did this weekend because I didn't do anything this weekend.
Well, it is what it is, right?
It is what it is. It gets to a point at a certain age, I'm just shut the phone off and relax. You know what I mean?
Good.
Back to work on Monday. But anyways, man, we got a special show today.
Mm-hmm.
A great story. I shouldn't say a great story. I should say a brave woman with a story that came out and has a new book. She's from the documentary Surviving R.Kelly, has an author of a book called Jane Doe Number 9, How I Survived R.Kelly. Let's get her on, Lizzette Martinez. Let's get her on. Hey, Lizzette, how you doing?
Hi guys.
So we were talking backstage. I just want to hear real quick. So we're talking about COVID, and bam, you missed it because you were ready but not ready. But she got it twice.
You got what?
Yeah. God damn.
Got it twice.
COVID, man.
But fuck it, I survived it. So.
You know what I mean? It's okay. Are you like I'm a firm believer. You got it twice, but you're like, fuck it. You have to live your life, right?
I didn't take the vaccine.
Okay.
And you survived. There we go. So you know what I mean? I don't know, man. That's a whole.
I don't know. I don't even want to get into that because it's gotten to like political.
I was gonna say that's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
People in their bullshit.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother show. But tell us, like, where were you? Let's start from the beginning. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Spanish Harlem, in New York.
All right.
My father was a musician. He's a drummer. And so he grew up in Spanish Harlem with all the musicians that came out of there, and we lived there. And then we moved to Brooklyn, and then we moved to Miami.
Okay.
Sunny Miami when I was 12.
Now,
and I've been here ever since. But I did move to Martha's Vineyard. That's where I caught the COVID. And then I was living in LA for a while. But I'm such a Miami girl that.
So that was my question. Between Miami and LA, Miami's the one you're picking?
No comment on LA.
She's not sure she's going back.
In LA, I love you all. LA
oh,
was
for sure.
Not for me. Like it was it was a hard time. Lonely. It's a lonely place.
For a big place, it's lonely, huh?
Yeah.
I dig it.
Maybe it was the company I was keeping. I don't know.
Oh, 100% could be.
Well, sometimes you don't want the wrong company either, right? So
yeah, so you better all staying alone.
You know,
and pack your shit and come back to Miami.
There it is.
If I had one place to pick, that's where it'd be. It'd be Miami. That's hands down.
Yeah.
Right. Now, when you was a teenager, you was in a music group. What was the name of the group, and who inspired you to get into the music?
It was an R&B group, and we had a few names, but the main one was Sweet Sensations.
Woo!
With a Z.
Okay.
And it was 2 African American girls and myself. I'm Puerto Rican.
Oh.
And we had some great songs, but the manager started to get involved with one of the girls, and my parents were like, "That shit ain't gonna work, so you're out the group."
Oh.
It's a good story. It's in the book.
That's great. That's great. That's awesome.
I was 15 years old. And then I started to sing with Tito Puente Jr. I don't know if you know who Tito Puente is. He's a legend in jazz, like Latin jazz, and he's like Celia Cruz. He said, that was his artist. And then that's when I met Rob shortly after. So I was already, going after my goal and stuff. So.
Yeah. So you're in the group. From what from all your stories, you're in a mall. You're about 17 years old. Rob, if people don't know who R.Kelly's first name is, Robert, meets you and approaches you in a mall. What did he say, and how were you? What was your reaction?
Well, the year before, let me just backtrack. The year before, I had gone with that group to see him perform.
Okay.
So I wasn't allowed to listen to his music because you know how his music
back
then, 12 play and all that stuff. my parents were very, very strict, and they were not they weren't stage parents. They just wanted me to do what I wanted to do. I just want to get that out there because a lot of people say, "Oh, where were your parents?" and they keep blaming the parents and all this shit. A predator is a predator, and they know how to.
Oh yeah.
So,
and we're teenagers. We know how to swindle the parents a little. Yeah, yeah.
So I was walking in the mall with some friends. It was just a typical day after school. We used to just go window shop and wait for my best friend to get off work, and then we shoot the shit and do whatever we do. So we're just walking, and I see this guy with like a big cell phone and another like huge, tall, 7-foot guy, bodyguard, like a whole crew of them. So I was like, wait a minute, I know that guy. Like that's R.Kelly, and he heard me. And my friend was like, "You're crazy. What would he be doing at a mall?" And I'm like, in Aventura, and I'm like, "No, that's him."
Yeah.
So then he heard me, and he came right back, right to me, and then he just gave me a hug, and I was caught off guard, and my face was red. You know, I was like nervous because I knew he was a huge artist, and I was a big Aaliyah fan.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so are we.
And so I still am, and that's where it started.
Okay. Okay.
Then his bodyguard came. I said goodbye. I said I'm a singer. I'm pursuing my goal and dreams and stuff. And he said I'm doing music here, and he's recording an album at the Hit Factory.
Yeah,
it's right by my house. And then I said, "Oh, I know where that is." And we just chit chat for a little while, a few minutes, and then he said, "Okay." So then he said bye, and then I said bye, and that was the end of it. I thought I was going wait for my girlfriend.
Right.
I can see that.
Who knew I would be talking about this shit 20-something years later?
Right.
I wish I never went to that mall, but anyway, it is what it is. So the rest of the story is, pretty dark.
Yeah, I know, right? It just makes me go like, we sent you the questions, you know the questions, and I'm from Brooklyn, you're from Brooklyn, so I could talk to you like we're home. When that shit started, you know what I mean? What was some of that bullshit he was on? You know what I mean? And do you find it difficult to, be in a relationship after the fact?
It was just like I was a very innocent girl. I want to say that you couldn't touch me from the neck down.
Right.
Okay. I was a very Catholic girl, and like I said, my parents were very strict. But he promised to mentor me and to help me.
Yeah.
And I met Barry Hankerson with him.
Okay.
So we asked him at the dinner, my girlfriend did, who's still my best friend to this day, "Did you marry Aaliyah?" I mean, I can't believe she asked that, first of all, because I was so shy. That shit was on my mind.
Well,
it's probably everybody's
mind,
And he said, "Don't believe everything you read." And then he introduced Barry. He's like, "Oh, this is her uncle." So we're thinking like, "Oh, if the uncle is here, why would he, this has to be bullshit." So we believed him.
Right.
Okay. And you know what I mean? There's a lot, like, it's not like how it is today, right? With everyone has a cell phone and cameras and stuff. So a rumor's a rumor really back then. It's either you believed it or you didn't believe it, right? So in your case, the uncle walks in, I'd be like, "This shit didn't happen. It didn't happen. It's not true."
Right.
You know what I mean? So I would definitely 100% put myself in your shoes, and that's what I would believe.
But do you find it difficult to be in another relationship after the fact?
Like, after all this bullshit happened, you know what I mean? You get out.
After all this bullshit happened, I was such an abused woman, a young woman, that my mind was not fully developed to go through all the things I went through that you can read in the book. Because the documentary only gave you like 10 minutes.
That's right.
Years of a story.
That's right.
And I found someone who was worse. Unfortunately, I fell into like a domestic violence cycle.
Okay.
And after that, I had, my children. I had twins. After that situation, I stayed alone for a very long time because I didn't trust anyone.
100%.
And today, no one wants to date me because of it.
What? No. Really?
It's very difficult. They don't want to be involved in this shit.
Is it that they're scared to be like, you know, your sidekick of questions, or do you think that they would look like, I don't know, like I don't know. I can't even put myself in that situation. What's the issue?
I have no idea because before I came out, I never had a problem. I stayed alone for many years, but I had meaningful relationships that were healthy. Mm-hmm. And then once this documentary came out, I was like, I can't find a date, and
Lizzette,
you know, it's all right. Anybody out there want to go?
That is correct. We should find. If you still have their contact, we should send them the link right now and get them on here and ask them what the fuck the problem is.
Oh fuck!
That would be another show.
That's the part two. Come on,
that's a rabbit hole you don't want us to go down.
But that is correct. Like you know what I mean? Like
no, because I never had this problem. I've never had this.
So
problem.
This is right after the documentary.
Yes.
Wow, that is crazy.
Like I was in a relationship and the guy didn't want to continue. And we were together like 3 years, and I don't know if it was the attention or the threats or the near break-ins, you know, shit that was going on.
You know, a lot of people say they're strong in some aspects, but then when the shit really hits the fan, you really get to see who they really are. You know
how I think exactly. You know, sorry to talk over you. You know how I think that God just has the right person that's going to understand all of this. And
that's right. And he's going to be a guy that's be able to make you some pasteles during the holidays. Like you know what I'm saying? If he can't do that, he ain't worth your time. You feel me?
So I feel you, and I love pasteles. You know how to make pasteles?
See? I learned 2 years ago.
Shit, you're the shit.
I try to be
Ben's the cook, man.
I try to be cultural.
Yeah, I gotta give him that. So, like, you know, once you get out of this situation with them, and years later, before the documentary, after like all these years, after all the rumors, you know, the videos, like, were you never surprised that he wasn't charged before?
Well, and when that whole thing was going on in 2008, when the trial, before that, because they charged him in the early 2000s.
That's right.
And then it went to 2000. I wanted to speak out, but I had already moved forward. I had a family. I never wanted to get too much involved in it because, like I said, I was like starting my life and I wanted to forget about that shit.
Dig it.
But my parents, you know, they were like, listen, you probably should because you have scars from this situation and you are an underage person. You are not a grown woman who made decisions. And even still, I'm not saying anything bad about the older women. Like, I get it. You know what I mean? He's a predator and he's an abuser. But I was a little kid. You know what I mean? But I also I wasn't who I am then. I wasn't who I am today. Like,
that's right.
I would have come out back then if I would have been the mature person that I am now.
Right.
However, I want you guys to know that the videos were sent by a reporter named Jim DeRogatis, who I don't know if you know him. He was on the documentary, and he has been reporting on Robert for 20 plus years.
Okay.
He's the one that broke the story about the 14-year-old. Barry Hankerson reached out to him and said, you better find the girl from Miami, the Spanish girl, for the trial back then.
Okay.
But they didn't know my last name. They didn't know where I was. And he said he did a freaking number on that girl. So you better find her. And, you know, everything happens for a reason. I came out when I had to come out because he's held accountable. Yes. I don't know how I would have felt if I would have come out, put my whole life in a fucking disarray, and the motherfucker walked away.
Right.
True.
Right.
Because like you understand that here in Canada, you know what I mean, we don't get the same amount of, like, we'll say media coverage, attention, right? Than what's happening. But then you're watching Dave Chappelle make fun of him. You know what I mean? And then you start looking into what the fuck is going on. You know what I mean? And
I was sickened by that because that was a rape, and there's nothing funny about that. She was a 14-year-old.
But what's fucked up is what he did was you can't make fun of that. I get that, but you do understand that he did bring extra attention to it.
Yeah, attention to him,
which was the positive side of this joke. Because I was like, why would someone piss on something? Like, I didn't understand, you know. So when you looked into it, you're like, holy fuck! Like if it wasn't really for him making fun of it, I probably would have never caught it. You know, at that time, right?
I think because he's a comedian, he has to do it a certain way. Right. But I really think he was calling him out.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, he should be. He should be. So, you know, how did this Surviving R. Kelly documentary come about? Like, you know, what? Like you said, they were searching for you for the trial or for the video for this documentary.
They were searching for me back in the day when the first charges came out with the 14-year-old, where everyone saw the video. And then time goes by, and I said, you know, I'm just gonna go on my life, like, you know. But then I was starting to read 2018. All these articles were coming out about, you know, the young women and the cult that he had going on in his house with all these young girls and not be able to see their parents. And you know, the Me Too movement kind of like gave me some feeling that I wasn't alone if I wanted to come out and talk about this situation. And I wanted to validate their stories because people weren't believing them and people were questioning the parents. And I was like, you know, my parents were there. The same situation. I was a girl trying to be a singer. The same situation as R.Kelly. She was 17 from Miami, from Orlando. Right. And so I said, I'm going to speak up. So my story was told on BuzzFeed. May 15, 2018, my story came out and I called him a predator. And after that, his PR people said that he was brokenhearted. And I said, well, I'm life broken. Like,
Jesus,
you know how long it took me to get? I'm still not over this shit.
He's trying to like compare himself.
Terrible.
So I was just like, I made the right decision because he's still not even sorry. Like he could have just said I'm sorry and I'm gonna get help, but you can't. So you're a narcissist. Narcissists cannot admit what they do.
That's true.
So then I was contacted by the production company called Creative.
Okay.
And I just want people to know I made $1,000. I didn't do it for money. I didn't do it for clout. I didn't even ask for money. That's something they gave me for my pictures. Because,
okay.
You know, for your archives.
Right.
And I just, you know, the whole situation with the documentaries in the book, that was a whole nother mess. Because Hollywood doesn't protect survivors.
They don't, huh? They don't care. It's for them, right? It's for the actual movie itself. They don't really give a shit what happens to
because you don't know what it is. Like you're sitting a woman that has trauma. Right. First of all these women, we're all traumatized. We're wounded people by the same person, and you're sitting there and you're opening Pandora's box, and you don't know how that's going to affect the person. So you just tell them go home and go deal with it. And what about the online bullying? And you know, there's protective services for that. Why didn't you get that for us? Why didn't you have a mental health specialist on site to say, stop the interview? The person needs a break.
Yes.
So I'm calling on Hollywood. I'm calling them out in the book because, you know, I have a relationship with them. However, I voiced my opinion from the beginning, in the middle, and the end, and after. It's not okay to profit off of survivors and just fucking tell us go live your life afterward when your life is fucking shit.
Yeah.
Because you participated in this. And everybody's rich except us.
Like, except you. And the story's based off you women that are on that's been, you know, victimized by this predator. Yeah. And these people are actually benefiting from it. That's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
It is terrible.
It is disgusting. But, you know, I like you said in the beginning, you try to look at the good part of things. And what I look at is the documentary held him accountable. If we wouldn't have sat down in those chairs, I believe he would have still been doing this to the day he dies.
I think so too. I think it would have been, he would have, if not even, maybe for another little while, it would have been more victims, right? And there has to be a stop to that. So we've talked about some of the negatives, but I want to know if was there any positives and other negatives that came out afterwards, after the documentary was aired on Netflix?
Well, the negative is we were constantly attacked, and we went to the screening of the documentary, and his people called in a gun threat or a bomb threat, And that's in the book. A lot of
so
people
like his people,
this.
is it like his people, like his team, his crew, or like
his manager? He was charged with that.
Jesus Christ!
Like, we had to be shuffled out of there, and the police came in, and it's like, how much more do we have to go through?
Like you were also, I heard that you were also attacked on Twitter. That you end up getting rid of your Twitter.
I got rid of my Twitter. My Instagram was hacked. I had thousands of followers. I don't really care about that stuff. But my kids were like, "Mom, are you crazy? You lost all your followers."
I can see all kids think like that for sure. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is crazy. I just want to.
Not only that, they make pages like kill Lizzette and kill Azriel and.
So hold on a sec. So you women have been traumatized by this predator, and somehow you're the bad guys.
We're guilty, and he's innocent.
Fucking those worlds lost its mind, man.
But I have to say, we also get love. Like I got a lot of love from overseas.
Yeah.
And like especially the UK, they send notes saying they thank us, and a lot of women send notes saying they wouldn't have left the situation if it wasn't for our story. So I have to think about those things more than the negative.
Well, I'll go tell you a quick story. I DJ'd like clubs and weddings and stuff, but I remember this one wedding, someone requested an R.Kelly track, and I was always like, you know what I mean? And I pressed play, and this lady that sat down for 4 hours straight bolted right at me and said, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I said, "I totally agree with you." And I took the fucking song off, and his shit came off my computer. Cause you know what I mean? It was like, I was like, fuck, I don't want to play this. But I'm being paid now, right? Mm-hmm. But when someone else had the same opinion as me, she thought I was going to defend. I was like, no. I totally agree with you. Let's take this shit off, like. And I was super happy that people, were like, had the same thought, the same vision, like, fuck this guy. We're not celebrating him in any way, and we're not playing his music. And I was like, I'm cool with that. That was cool. Well, we had some of the guys on in here, and we're talking about some verses and who would be versus, R&B guys. Mm-hmm. And all of us are not mentioning his name. And Carm mentions, sucks, but I used to like his music. You know what I mean? And he brought up the elephant in the room, and it was true.
Right.
Now fuck them.
I don't like to tell people what to listen to because I'm a singer and I love music. However, what I do try to tell people about him is that when those records were being made, rapes were happening. Mm-hmm. Sexual abuse was happening. Yeah. Emotional abuse was happening.
Right.
So it's easy for me to separate. It should be easy for you to separate. He does have great catalog. We all know that. Mm-hmm. However, there is something so sinister behind that music that you have to think about that. Yeah, it could have been your daughter. It could have been your. It could have been anyone.
I get it. His whole catalog was based off of something. You know
right,
what I mean? And music is based off of something, some emotion, something somewhere. You get your creativity, but now that the pieces have been put together, that project and what was happening going together, it's not right. So I honestly, I think they should take away all his accolades, and take away all that music from him. You know what I mean? He shouldn't get the royalties for that. I think y'all ladies should get the royalties for that.
Thank you. I think so too. And I think it's not for me. Like, I don't really care about things. I'm not like attached to things and money. Right. I've been good. I've been bad. That's how life is. You're up and you're down. Right. But I do have a nonprofit, and I have a goal of building this safe home for women, first in Puerto Rico, because there's a serious issue with domestic violence and women being killed there. Oh. Like every 14 days in 2018 or 2019, the woman was being murdered. Mm. And so, during the pandemic, it got worse, obviously.
Yeah.
But, I would like his royalties to go to that. I'm talking about me personally.
Dig it.
And also the artists that made money off of these songs, because the songs are all based on reality. I just want to put that out there from his mouth back then. I don't write anything, and he doesn't write anything down because he cannot read. So everything is in the booth, and it's just coming off of an idea and the top of his head and what he's going through. Mm-hmm. So everything is based on life, his life.
Wow. Because I know I can't listen to this shit without thinking. I can't. I just can't now. That's where I'm at. I'm just like, fuck this. I can't do it. Shit's fucked up. I can't do it. I'm not eating Jello neither, if you know what I mean.
You know what I mean? Another weirdo.
Yeah. But during the trial, did it bring up, feelings? Did it bring up really, really bad feelings for you, or?
Very good question, because I was going through it. I get anxiety, and since this whole shit is worse,
right?
But it's under control today.
Okay.
But there were periods where I have anxiety, and the periods that I was having the anxiety was during the trial, because I was listening to testimony, and it was sounding a lot like what happened to me. So you start reliving all that stuff. I was chain smoking, and I don't smoke. I mean, I do that little vape thing here and there.
Yeah.
But the New York Times did a story because I was on hold. I was waiting to see if I was going to get to the trial. And that was a whole nother ordeal. So unpacking all of this stuff, the documentary, okay, but there's so many other things that happen to us that people don't know. You watch the documentary on Netflix, you go to sleep, but we still living with this shit.
Right.
That's true. That is true. I dig
it.
That documentary, I don't know. I judge everything. Bam knows. I still think because what it was is there's so many women, like you were saying, you just got a small portion of it, right? And I felt like there's missing details to it. You know what I mean? After I watched, I was like, but then again, it's hard because then it would have been a fucking 2-season series. You know what I mean? Because of so many stories. But like, I was just watching it, and the first thing I noticed was, damn, everything just repeats. Like, he's just a sicko that does the same thing over and over to another girl. And I was like, this is fucking crazy. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm really was impressed because I made my mom watch it. It's funny, even before I met you on Instagram, I made my mom watch it because of the whole trial. She saw it on TV, and I'm like, there's the documentary on Netflix, and she checked it out. And when I told you I was having you on, she was like, oh my God, no way. Like, she was just like, as if, she was like, she doesn't say many good things about himself. I'll tell you that right now. Give her a couple of drinks, and she'll tell you how she feels about him. But the doc, I just figured with the documentary and the trial that the emotions, you know what I mean? Because as much as, I don't know, we're in that certain generation that we kind of like, it's done, let's move forward. And now it has to be brought back up, right? It has to be thrown back in your face and stuff. But how do you feel doing like all these interviews and stuff and re-talking? Does it bring out any emotions in that?
I'll say why I wrote the book because that's why I'm doing the interviews. I wrote the book because people asked me to. A lot of the women had books ready when the first, because there's 2 documentaries.
Yes.
So when Surviving R.Kelly premiered, I didn't understand that this is a business, and I didn't even care to understand that this was a business. I was emotionally really hurt by a lot of things and by coming out and reliving all of that stuff. So I wrote this book because first I want the money for the safe house because that's where my proceeds are going, and because I wanted my kids and my daughter and this book to live forever, so that anyone that's going through something, that faced adversity, that faced a family house that shit wasn't right. I don't talk badly about my folks because I love them. However, during that time, there was a lot of things that were wrong. And I wanted to make it so bad to help them, to get them out of the situation they were in. And I fell into a trap. And this is why I wrote the book, because I want to help other young women understand what to look for, and that, self-love is number one. And I lost myself. I was a very happy girl, and then I became a really depressed person, quite frankly, confused. And so I don't really, when I do the interviews with you guys, like, I have fun with it now because I'm better.
Yeah,
that's good.
2 years ago, thank you. It's like people are supporting me, so I feel good about it. 100%. But at the beginning, it was tough. It was a tough thing, and my emotions were all over the place. Okay. But I'm good now. Hey.
But on a side question, did you ever do an interview where someone asked you something that was just out of line? Was there ever? I'm just curious. Because some people are just clout chasers. You know what I mean? They just want to.
Well, there was one where I think it was E News. Fuck them, I'ma say it.
There we go. Shooting the shit.
Doing the shit.
Yeah.
There you go.
And she made a comment like, "Oh, well, why did you stay?" And I'm like, "Listen, bitch, you don't understand. You didn't do your research. You're just a pretty face standing here, but you have no idea what an abused person, a woman, goes through. It's such a cycle. Like, there's women. You probably won't go through a breakup 20 times. You'll leave. You'll come back. You'll leave. You come back. Yeah. It's a cycle of domestic violence 20 times before you actually leave the person. That's not an appropriate question to ask someone.
Yeah.
You should ask. You should have said, "Well, you know what? I'm happy you left when you left.
Have your back. Exactly.
Have my back."
Yeah.
You know,
especially as a woman too. Like, what the hell's wrong with her? You know what I mean? Like,
I said I'm stopping the interview. And
wow, good for you.
Yeah, I love it because, you know, they think they got the power. They think they control an interview. No, you're not. You know, the interview only goes because I'm talking. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, you can shut her down right now. You know, that's exactly it.
That's simple. You know,
I said I'm out.
I just don't understand. Every guest that we have in here, it's pure respect. You've taken the time to be on our show. You know what I mean? So it's like, respect your people. And the thing is, you did that interview for her. You know what I mean? Like, that's a story. Yeah. Don't fucking be rude about it. What's wrong with people? Like,
I appreciate you guys. You know, I always come into an interview like I feel I'm not a star, I'm not a celebrity, I'm not nothing. I'm just trying to get the message out there, the narrative to continue going. You know, not necessarily only about him, but about women that are hurting and women and men that are hurting, because men are abused too. You know what I mean? Abuse needs to end. Period. But I'm very grateful to be here. You know, that's how my attitude is. I'm very grateful. Like, grateful is the word that I use constantly because I try to stay in that.
100%.
That's good.
Now, talking about when I talked about Mr. Jello, Mr. Bill Cosby, how did you feel when I turned on the news and this man is walking out of jail after a couple of years of doing decades of whatever the fuck he was doing? You know what I mean? How was your emotions when you witnessed or you heard about this story?
That was a rough day because I believe the trial was going on too.
Wow.
So I have a friend, her name is Lily Bernard, and she's a victim of him. And she's a very good friend of mine. And I've spoken to a few of the victims of his, and they were just totally brokenhearted. Like, and I'm an empath, so I have to be careful because I take stuff on. But that day was a very weird day because then the women from Surviving R.Kelly, I heard from them, and they said, well, what if that happens to him if he's convicted? So it started to cause a lot of anxiety and stress between all of us.
Wow, I can imagine, yes.
Because I start to think, this motherfucker did that shit, and he's
out. That's it. It's like I turned on the news and I was like, am I losing my fucking mind? Like, I was just like, what is? They throw people in jail for nothing, but these guys, it's like, yeah, here you go, you're okay. You just terrorized everybody.
It was a technical, you know, they made a mistake apparently, the prosecutors, and they found that mistake.
Yeah, that's the court system.
Unfortunately,
fuck the feelings, fuck the people, right?
Fuck the victims. We found a mistake, and he's gonna get out.
That's right. Makes me sick though. It's I don't know. That was one news. I was just like, oh man, we dropped the ball on that one. You know what I mean? It's just that's just not cool. You know what? Again, as a prosecutor or whatever the case may be, learn from that mistake too, because we can't let this happen anymore. You know what I mean? So, so you told me the reasons of why you wrote the book.
Yep.
How long did it take you to complete it from start to finish?
Like 2 years.
Oh.
Yeah, see, I've never written a book. I can't even barely write an essay, so that's why I have to ask you these questions.
I have a co-writer, but we wrote the book together. It was very important for them, my team, and myself that I don't just let somebody just do it. You know what I mean? Like, we had numerous calls, everyday calls, me journaling. And I wanted to going back, I wanted to take my time with the book because I wanted to tell the complete story.
Good.
I wanted to tell the trial. I wanted to tell lifetime. I wanted to tell what happens to a person that comes out. You know, I didn't want to make this shit all about him. And that's why people are appreciating the book. I mean, I'm getting 5 stars all around.
Nice.
And women and writers and journalists saying they really enjoyed the book because it's my perspective, you know, from the 17-year-old till now.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
No, that's cool. That's a cool thing. And the book is now on Amazon, right?
Yes.
You can buy it on Amazon, paperback, Kindle. And now I've been told that it was the end of November, which is what we're at now, but this will be aired December 5th. And you have the audio book will be also available, right?
Yes, the audio book is, and the actress is, I didn't do it, but the actress is really amazing. And the book is an easy read, and it's a good story. And I hope people pick it up and share it, with others, give it as a gift, or just pass it on to whomever.
Right,
I agree.
right.
Christmas is right around the corner
Get
too.
the
So
message out, So, what advice do you have for young women today that's going through any type of abuse? Like, what would you give advice?
For me, it took me to look in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
If you like the person that's looking back at you, and you remember, like, this is who I am and this is what I will accept.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but you're not, because anyone that loves you doesn't abuse you.
Right.
This situation of you got to change. I don't like the way you are, or I don't want you wearing this. The control. I went through all that shit. The control, the isolation. That's abuse, and you don't deserve it. Nobody deserves that. Man, female, nobody deserves that.
Right.
And I want you to know that you are not alone. That we standing with you. I call my people the Survivor Army, because I got your back, and I respond. People write to me on Instagram about situations they want to get out of, and I help them and I get them resources. You're not alone. Look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself you love yourself. You're number one.
Yeah, that's facts.
You can't change anyone. You can't change anyone.
It's true.
That's facts, people. Understand, learn, love, live. You know what I mean? Hold your shit together. Be strong.
Lizzette, I'm so happy that we got in contact. As soon as I heard about your story, we obviously knew about you from surviving R.Kelly, and we were more than happy when I reached out to Bam about having you on the show. And it was more. I didn't want to do this one about Robert neither. It wasn't about that. It was about you. We wanted you on about you, because you have a story and you have a message towards other people that are being abused. And I thought this would have been a great time to have you on shooting the shit with us. So I thought this was great. And the fact that you took time out of your day to be on here, really appreciate it.
And that's why me and him get together, and we always respect the guests. You know what I mean?
We
talk our shit. We fucking argue, me and him back and forth.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm a fan, so now I'm going to be shooting the shit with y'all.
I'm telling you, every once in a while we have some topics and we get a couple people on and we just debate and argue. So if one day you want to get on, please.
I think you should do a dating show for me.
We should.
Oh shit!
How hard would that be?
Yep, let's make it happen. Let's make it happen.
How hard would it be?
But y'all be the interviewers.
Oh, you see, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. You're in trouble. You're in trouble.
I ain't gonna say much. Y'all be the interviewers.
All right, we might have to get. You know what? We'll get in contact. Let's do it. Let's do it. That sounds fun to me. That sounds fun. Lizzette, thank you so much for being on. We'll talk about the dating show. We'll definitely have you back on shooting the shit with us. Everyone, grab her book, Jane Doe #9: How I Survived R.Kelly, out on Amazon. Grab it. Christmas is around the corner. There's some gifts. If you don't want to read, at least support, because it's going to an amazing cost.
The audiobook's coming out, so it's easy to listen to that stuff.
See, for me, I work during the day and I drive, so I love the audio stuff. For me, it's big. Anything with that. So, hey, I got your back. I'm going to cop them all. Don't worry about it. Thank you so much.
Amazing, guys. Love you guys.
Stay on backstage. I'll just get the outro.
Yeah.
We're good.
Buenas tardes, señor.
Gracias.
See you guys. See you guys.
I'll get some something to you, man. I'll tell you.
I know.
All right.
Bye.